Kentucky lawmakers tonight say that it could have an impact on the current employees. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Connie Leonard. In a release today, the company said it's planning to convert its Glendale plant to make a battery storage systems that can be used by data centers. Now, Blue Oval SK says that decision is meant to meet the growing demand for battery energy storage from data centers, and the plant will now produce those batteries instead of batteries for Ford's electric vehicles.
Just in this afternoon, we've been getting several emails from Kentucky lawmakers who are following this breaking story. Some Kentucky lawmakers are sending statements concerned about the potential impact on employees there. Now, as of this summer, the last reported number of those employed there at the Blue Oval SK plant stood for a total of 1,500. Now, we're trying to confirm if that there will be layoffs with these changes. The announcement coming less than a week after the announcement that the partnership between Ford and South Korean battery maker SK On is now ending. Moments ago, in a statement emailed to WHAS11 News, Kentucky State Representative Samara Heverin and State Representative Steve Bratcher issued this joint statement. It reads in part, "Our focus remains on making sure the men and women whose jobs are impacted by this decision have the support and resources they need to find new employment."
Now, meantime, State Senator Matt Dineen also issued a statement saying Ford has reaffirmed its commitment to add approximately 2,100 jobs as the facility is retooled, replacing positions affected during this temporary transition. The company is also working to ensure support and assistance are available to employees impacted in the short term while moving forward with the hiring and investment commitments it has already made.
Now, this is a developing story. The Kentucky governor is in Louisville tonight. We're going to be asking him about potential layoffs coming up throughout the evening. Now, we turn to a weekend of violence across the globe, from multiple mass shootings to a famed Hollywood director killed right in his own home.
First, we go to Brown University, where at least 2 students are dead and 9 others injured in the shooting. And now the urgent manhunt back on after police released a person of interest from custody. On Saturday, just after 4 p.m., as final exams and study sessions were underway, students suddenly running for cover, hiding under desks and barricading doors, the campus on lockdown for hours.
Investigators working off surveillance video taken Saturday, this one from far away, showing a person of interest wearing all black, walking away from the shooting location, and another a little closer. We'll have more details on the latest information in this case coming up in less than 30 minutes.
Meantime, this weekend, 15 people were killed and more than 40 were hurt in a mass shooting at a Hanukkah celebration in Australia. Now it's prompting the Australian Prime Minister to propose tougher national gun laws.
Anthony Albanese calling the massacre an act of anti-Semitic terrorism. The new restrictions could include limiting the number of guns that a licensed owner can obtain in Australia. His proposals were announced after the authorities revealed that the older of the 2 gunmen, who were a father and a son, had held a gun license for a decade and amassed his 6 guns legally.
And a shock in Hollywood. Director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle found dead in their Los Angeles home. Sources tell ABC News the couple was found stabbed to death. Such
a tragic story here, still developing in Southern California. Now Reiner's son Nick is in custody following the killings. Police have booked their son, 32-year-old Nick Reiner, for suspicion of murder. ABC's Melissa Adan is in Los Angeles near Reiner's home with the very latest.
Today, the Los Angeles Police Department arresting Rob Reiner's son, 32-year-old Nick Reiner, and booking him for suspicion of murder. This following the tragic death of famed director Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer, a photographer. Sources tell ABC News it was the Reiner's daughter who found her mom and dad stabbed to death inside their Los Angeles home Sunday afternoon.
We have our robbery homicide division handling the investigation. They worked throughout the night on this case and were able to take into custody Nick Reiner, a suspect in this case.
A former security guard who worked with the Reiner family seen laying a candle and flowers at the front gate of the Reiner home, telling ABC's Trevor Alt he's saddened by the loss and shocked that Nick Reiner is in custody.
If Nick is the suspect, I would never have thought that he would have done this to his parents.
Mourners seen laying flowers at the filmmaker's Hollywood Boulevard star once the news broke Sunday. The son of comedy icon Carl Reiner. Rob Reiner first rose to fame in the 70s, playing the son-in-law to Archie Bunker on the hit sitcom All in the Family.
It looks like we lost a daughter, but we gained a meathead.
After the iconic show ended, Reiner turned to directing with hit movies like The Princess Bride, Stand By Me, Misery, When Harry Met Sally, and A Few Good Men.
You can't handle the truth.
Reiner's Castle Rock Entertainment helped reshape television comedy by producing Seinfeld. On top of his entertainment work, Reiner was also heavily involved in environmental causes and democratic politics. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Reiner's son Nick tonight is now being held on a $4 million bond, according to LAPD. But today, the president also speaking on Reiner's death, saying his political activism made him a target of the attack.
He posted on social media blaming Reiner's murder on his outspoken political views. He said in part, Reiner, quote, was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump. And the unsympathetic message is drawing criticism from both sides of the political aisle, including Kentucky Representative Thomas Massie. In this post on social media, Massie said, quote, regardless of how you felt about Rob Reiner, this is inappropriate and disrespectful discourse about a man who was just brutally murdered. I guess my elected GOP colleagues, the VP and the White House staff will just ignore it because they're afraid. I challenge anyone to defend it.
More top stories here. Here in Louisville, 3 18-year-olds were arrested Sunday afternoon for allegedly stealing guns and cars.
The three could also be charged with engaging in organized crime, an effort pushed by Police Chief Paul Humphrey. Now, our Ian Hardwick joins us live from Dixie Highway.
Ian, you've been learning more about this throughout the day. Can you tell us about LMPD's arrest? It started there and then crossed over the Ohio River.
Yeah, Doug, it was about an hour-long drama that started here on Dixie Highway near the regional library. Those three people were suspected of a rash of car thefts, sometimes stealing the items out of cars or outright stealing the car altogether here on the southern end of Dixie Highway. Police didn't chase them when they found them, however. They followed with a drone and a helicopter all the way to, get this, southern Indiana, where Indiana State Police in Sellersburg chased them back across the Ohio River into 4th and Main Streets in downtown Louisville. That's where Metro Police say along the way they found 2 stolen guns on the side of the road tossed out by the suspected car thieves. They're also charging them with the theft of 2 vehicles. They said they've taken some of these vehicles in cases where they've waited outside of a house in what's called a strike-style raid. Here's LMPD's Sergeant Joe Keeling explaining that.
They're all armed, and they cover the house and basically maintain security on the house in case someone comes out and tries to interrupt them stealing their vehicle. And they all actively stand there with handguns, rifles, whatever they have, and they are willing to fight it out with anyone who tries to confront them. So.
LMPD crime data shows that thefts of cars are down from 5,300 in 2024 to 4,300 this year. But despite that drop, their same data shows that thefts from cars, that's the items inside of them, have increased by about 11%. Now, Sergeant Joe Keeling also talked about the organized crime charges that these 3 18-year-olds could face. That would increase the minimum prison time served for them, for each of them, by about 10 years apiece. That's from the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office today. For now, I'm live in Louisville with photojournalist Levi Hammer. Ian Hardwick on your side.
Ian, thank you. A new development in a story that we've been following for years. The mother accused of killing her son and hiding his body in a suitcase in southern Indiana, pleading not guilty in a Louisville courtroom this morning. Investigators say 40-year-old Dejon Anderson killed her 5-year-old son Cairo in Louisville and then dumped his body in rural Washington County, Indiana back in 2022. A judge has set Anderson's bail at $500,000 cash. Her next court appearance is set for January 27th at 10 a.m.
Well, staying warm in Louisville has not been easy in the last 24 hours.
More layers, the better. And our chief meteorologist, Mallory Schnell, is once again tracking a forecast that's going to change. You're going to bring some more, let's call it stuff out of the sky, but it's not going to be snow this week.
Yeah, different kind of precipitation, rain, which we haven't seen in quite some time, it seems like. But a live look outside, we've had plenty of sunshine. It's a live look from our Hughes and Coleman Shriners children's camera here. That sun will be setting in about 20 minutes or so, but we did manage to make it above the freezing mark in Louisville for just a short period of time today. Wind speeds coming in from the south around 6 miles per hour. That air remains extremely dry with dew points in the single digits. But take a look at this 24-hour temperature change map. This goes to show just how cold we were yesterday. We are actually 20 degrees warmer than we were this time 24 hours ago, and we're only sitting at 33 degrees in Louisville. Max HD radar, all is dry here. We've had some clouds that are clipping the northeastern corner of our viewing area, but a pretty quiet evening is on tap with temperatures dropping back down into the 20s. We're just expecting overnight lows in the lower 20s by early tomorrow morning. Mostly clear to partly cloudy skies and a light southwest wind expected. So thankfully, no more of those single digits for those overnight lows. For the bus stop forecast tomorrow, expect a chilly start under mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. Highs tomorrow afternoon warming into the 40s. We'll talk much more about the milder week of weather and when those rain chances return. That's coming up in our 7-day forecast.
Mallory, thank you. More top stories. New tonight, a man is dead after being hit by a ride-share vehicle in the Clifton Heights neighborhood this morning. Just before 9:30 this morning, LMPD says a ride-share driver was struggling to drive up a snowy hill there in Clifton Heights with a man in the back seat when the rider got out and said he would just walk. LMPD said he then began walking behind the car when the driver, unaware of the man behind him, let his vehicle roll back down the hill, hitting and killing the man. LMPD says it's a tragic accident. No charges are expected.
Newly released 911 calls take us inside the chaos and the response that followed the UPS plane crash on November 4th.
We want to warn you that they may be hard to listen to. Call takers were swamped with calls immediately after the crash near Grade Lane. Some came from people trapped near the site, others from eyewitnesses who saw the crash happen.
Was it a UPS plane?
I believe so.
I believe so. We just saw it, like one of the wings was on fire, and then it just crashed.
The lines are getting on fire.
Oh yeah, the lines are getting on fire. Uh-oh. That is not looking good, ma'am.
14 people died in the crash. The preliminary report from the NTSB says an engine and pylon separated first from the plane during its takeoff. Cleanup at the site is still ongoing.
As a reminder, we've got continuing coverage of the UPS plane crash on air and online. The best way to stay up to date is by going to WHAS11.com.
Supporting the hemp industry amid tighter federal regulations on the horizon, we're going to hear from Kentucky Senator Rand Paul coming up next.
And here's a look at today's Kentucky Lottery jackpots. Mega Millions, $80 million. Powerball, $1.1 billion.
The Kentucky Lottery, funding education for over 1 million Kentucky students.